Buddhism, and we're going to talk about the Buddha, who once did live in recklessness and then is reckless nevermore, shall light the world like the full moon when clouds unmask it. Who checks with wholesome deeds the evil deeds already done, shall light the world like the full moon when clouds unmask it. And then from the Udana, trivial thoughts, insignificant thoughts, when followed, they distract the mind. Not understanding those thoughts, the roaming mind runs back and forth. But by understanding those thoughts, one ardent and mindful restrains the mind. An awakened one has to overcome them completely so they do not arise to distract the mind. Three things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Mani Padme Hung. Just to explain it, it's an ancient Buddhist mantra. The chant means praise to the jewel in the lotus. Ironically, it is attributed to Avalokiteshvara, who is our next master. She would say, form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. There were a lot of texts attributed to Avalokiteshvara about the Buddha. One of the things that she had written that was attributed to the Buddha was, therefore you should know that you state the impossible when you say that the mind which knows, understands, and is aware is concealed in the organ of vision in the way that the eyes are covered by crystals. And then the next master is one of my favorite monks, Buddhist monks, Earth Store Bodhisattva, who was this really cool Buddhist monk in the Middle Ages. He's got the Sutra of the Past Vows of Earth Store Bodhisattva. I've always found Earth Store Bodhisattva very fascinating. And so here is some of the things that he's been attributed as saying. The advisor says to him, if you see those whom you know personally, as well as other travelers, be they men or women, tell them that there are many poisons and evils on that path, which can cause them to lose their very nature in life. Do not let them seek their own deaths. Why the name Earth Store? Earth nurtures the growth of all things, and store refers to treasure troves. All the treasure troves are in the ground. Store can also mean to keep hidden, to keep from view. All the treasure troves are hidden from view underground. Like the great earth, this bodhisattva is able to make the myriad things grow. Like the great earth, he has endless, boundless treasure troves in the ground for people to uncover. Those who believe in this bodhisattva are entitled to the treasures within. What were the vows that Earthstop Bodhisattva made? He vowed, until the hells are empty, I vow to forego Buddhahood. When beings are saved, will I then certify to Bodhi? Yet empty, he will hold off on becoming a Buddha. Only when the hells are completely empty will he become a Buddha. How great is that vow power? And here is one little portion of his text, giving a little bit of a description of some of the things he had seen in the hells. There is a hell in which the offender is followed everywhere by fire. There is a hell in which there is cold and ice. There is a hell in which there is limitless dung and urine. There is a hell in which there are flying maces. There is a hell in which there are many fiery spears. There is a hell in which one is constantly beaten on the chest and back. There is a hell in which one's hands and feet are burned. There is a hell in which the offender is wrapped and bound by iron serpents. Humane one, such are the retributions. In each hell there are 100,000 kinds of utensils of karma, and any single hell would have hundreds of thousands of kinds of acute sufferings. And another, it says, east of that is yet another sea, where the sufferings are doubled still again, what the combined evil causes of the three karmic vehicles evoke is called the Sea of Karma. This is that place. Earth Store Bodhisattva is fascinating. Anyone interested in that sort of thing should consider reading the Sutra of the Past Vows of Earth Store Bodhisattva. And then we're moving on to Vimalakirti, another great master in the Buddhist tradition, who said, then the Crown Prince Manjusri said to the Lakavi Vimalakirti, noble sir, how does the Bodhisattva follow the way to attain to the qualities of the Buddha? Vimalakirti replied, Manjusri, when the Bodhisattva follows the wrong way, he follows the way to attain to the qualities of the Buddha. Manjusri, noble sir, one who stays in the fixed determination of the vision of the uncreated is not capable of conceiving the spirit of unexcelled perfect enlightenment. However, one who lives among created things, in the minds of passions, is indeed capable of conceiving the spirit of unexcelled perfect enlightenment. For example, noble sir, without going out into the great ocean, it is impossible to find precious, priceless pearls. Likewise, without going into the ocean of passions, it is impossible to obtain the mind of omniscience. This is the holy teaching of Vimalakirti, one of the best sutras I've ever read. One of the things he says, this body is so impermanent, fragile, unworthy of confidence, and feeble. It is so insubstantial, perishable, short-lived, painful, filled with diseases, and subject to changes. Thus, my friends, as this body is only a vessel of many sicknesses, wise men do not rely on it. This body is like a ball of foam, unable to bear any pressure. It is like a water bubble, not remaining very long. It is like a mirage born from the appetites of the passions. It is like the trunk of the plantain tree having no core. Alas, this body is like a machine, a nexus of bones and tendons. It is like a magical illusion consisting of falsifications. It is like a dream, being an unreal vision. It is like a reflection, being the image of former actions. It is like an echo, being dependent on conditioning. It is like a cloud, being characterized by turbulence and disillusion. It is like a flash of lightning, being unstable and decaying every moment. The body is ownerless, being the product of a variety of conditions. And then he goes on to say, you just got to bear with me here. It takes a little patience, but this is worth it because it is the holy teaching of Vimalakirti. This is one of those texts that is life-altering. Therefore, you should be revulsed by such a body. You should despair of it and should arouse your admiration for the body of the Tathagata, which is the body of the Buddha. Friends, the body of a Tathagata is the body of Dharma born of gnosis. The body of a Tathagata is born of the stores of merit and wisdom. It is born of morality, of meditation, of wisdom, of the liberations, and of the knowledge and vision of liberation. It is born of love, compassion, joy, and impartiality. It is born of charity, discipline, and self-control. It is born of the path of 10 virtues. It is born of patience and gentleness. It is born of the roots of virtue planted by solid efforts. It is born of the concentrations, the liberations, the meditations, and the enlightenment. It is born of mental quiescence and the transcendental analysis. It is born of the 10 powers, the 4 fearlessnesses, and the 18 special qualities. It is born of all the transcendences, born from sciences and super knowledges. It is born of the abandonment of all evil qualities and of the collection of all good qualities. It is born of truth. It is born of reality. It is born of conscious awareness. Friends, the body of a Tathagata is born of innumerable good works. Towards such a body, you should turn your aspirations. And in order to eliminate the sicknesses of the passions of all living beings, you should conceive the spirit of unexcelled, perfect enlightenment. That's Buddhist teaching in a nutshell, but you can study it more because there's more, but that's the summarized version given by our master Vimalakirti, who is one of the greats. And the next one, of course, is Maitreya, who is another of the greats, who says the self, who is the self of all beings, appears as many. Before creation and in dissolution, the world exists as one absolute existence, which is God. Then there is neither the seer nor the seen, neither subject nor object. There exists only consciousness itself. Let's talk about a tachyon field here. In that consciousness, which is the absolute God, is the power which divides itself into the seer and the seen, the cause and the effect. This power is called Maya, also known as, illusion, which is everything we create to keep us from seeing that which is real. He also says suchness is said to be similar to the substance of gold, because this essence is immutable, perfectly pure, and most notable. Hold the thoughts, know the thoughts, and you realize the thoughts have slowed, showing breaks and gaps. Be the witness to them, and you shall be meditating. Isn't that the best instruction you've ever heard on meditation? And of course, Maitreya was considered the Buddha to come, the second coming of the Buddha almost. He says, hold the thoughts, know the thoughts, and you realize the thoughts have slowed, showing breaks and gaps. Be the witness to them, and you shall be meditating. Our next master is Milarepa, another great Tibetan master, and he actually was a sorcerer before his transformation, and his transformation was just as dramatic as his life before, because he did a lot of evil things before his transformation. Once he went through conversion, he went whole hog. No halfway for Milarepa here. He's considered one of the greatest saints of Tibet is because of this story of his. From the Life and Hymns of Milarepa, he says, all phenomena existing and apparent are ever transient, changing, and unstable, but more especially the worldly life hath no reality, no permanent gain in it. And so instead of doing work that's profitless, the truth divine I'll seek. What they always say, which is that there seems to be these divisions between religions or cultures or whatever, but when you actually read the writings of the mystics in the ancient sacred texts, you see that there's much more that's similar than is different. And he said, my religion is to live and die without regret. He says, if you realize the emptiness of all things, compassion will raise within your heart.